So, good afternoon, students. Yeah. Continuation of the class general examination. Now, I will highlight the points. Okay, then it will be easy for you to understand. So, general examination actually, when a patient comes to the clinic, when he or she enters to your chamber, from that time examination starts. First, you have to see how the patient has brought to the couch, or what to you. If someone has in their lap or in a trolley or by walking patient, so that will also give you some idea about the condition of the patient. Okay, so that is the first gait. Gait means the way a person walk. There are some abnormal gait, say limping gait. If someone is having ankle sprain, okay, so that person will come limping, and he will spend while walking, he will spend more. He will bear more weight by the normal foot. Then you will suspect that okay, he may have some problem in the right other leg. Then when he will be brought to the examination couch, okay, so suppose you have made him lie down, and he may sit up. That means he is not comfortable in the lying position. So that is called decubitus. Decubitus means position at which the patient feel comfort. So if in all positions, the sitting, standing, lying down, all positions, if he or she feels comfortable, then that is called decubitus of choice. And while the subject is entering, at that time, you have to notice about the mental status, definitely. Pogala ta ahile nichchoy gom paba, abul tabul buki ahibo, thik ache? So one gentleman will definitely come with like a normal human being. And here in special circumstances, it may be that one person is coming that he cannot complete a sentence. He is telling, sir, that means he is in distress. That is the gift. Okay, like that, with sweating and everything, that person may come. Okay, so that point you have to note. So what are the things you have we have seen till now? Say the gait, decubitus, patients as a whole mental status. That is another. These are the function, higher functions. That means he will not say some bad word in front of you. If he says, that means something is not good inside his gray matter. Okay, that means it will give some indication of higher function also. Okay, higher function will be another class separately. So I will not go detail into the higher functions. Okay, and sensory system, motor system, these systems, all everything will be as a few points are of general examination point, but because those things will be taught in the subsequent classes. So here I will just mention that, and whatever is important asked during the exam, or you have to know, you have to do, those things I will demonstrate here. Okay, so our dear Goskoda, he is with me. Okay, you should say a big thank to him. So say suppose the patient is entered and he is comfortable in sitting position. Okay, then always remember chronologically there are 7 points. Okay, I will give you a PowerPoint or it may be some photos. In there, it is clearly written what are the 7 points, okay, and how to go chronologically from point 1 to 7. And that one, whatever practically I have to show you, definitely I am going to show you here. So first you have to look for build. Build means how the subject is. If you will maintain like that, you will be obese. So in my photos or PP PowerPoint presentations, two pictures are there. One is cachectic and one is obese, like a hathi. So built. So let's say he is a little bit obese. Then nutrition. Okay. Nutrition means suppose there is all the bones, the bones can be seen. There is no subcutaneous space. Patient is cachectic. Then definitely his nutrition will be poor. So in Phoenix, we have some method to assess it. So we measure the median circumference just to know the nutritional status. And in pediatrics, those parameters will be taught by those respected teachers clearly, definitely in your upcoming test. After that, first let us come from the head. Okay. So first you see the head. Say one person who is suffering from cancer, undergo chemotherapy. So definitely he may come with hair fall. Okay, it's a very sad situation. So how the condition of the hair? Then you look the eyebrows, whether eyebrows are absent or present. Yeah, absent maybe. Then there is a condition called albinism, oculocutaneous albinism, or it may be ocular or it may be cutaneous albinism. Albinism is nothing but with the skin pigmentation, and this skin pigmentation, that process melatonin, it is totally absent and it becomes white. Okay, that person cannot sustain, cannot go in the shiny side. Okay, so after that, say these eyes, you can see if there is any puffiness of the lid, lid may be swollen. Okay, so there are many causes of swollen lid. That whatever I have told, I will give a PowerPoint. Everything is written here. Okay, just because you have to see the lid and that demonstration I am giving you. So just look for the lids, or you say definitely the subject may complain that our chokta calculated khula. Okay, so that is a history taking part. But patient may say at that time only, no, but then you will give the information. Then after that, one important thing you cannot miss is say pallor. Pallor means it is the pale discoloration. What is discolorations of the skin and our mucous membranes? Okay, so when hemoglobin is less, anemia, then we find pallor. Okay, so how to look for pallor? For pallor we look to two conjunctiva, lower palpebral conjunctivas, okay, in eye. Then we can see the palms. If your hemoglobin is okay, you can compare your palm with the patient palm. Okay, if he is papery white, then definitely you have an idea that the person is anemic. Okay, so pallor. Now, so I will just show you and I will just mention the size. Okay, because in video it cannot be a practical demonstration. Okay, just I am trying to make you understand. Of the upper digation. So he is not having pallor. And what I have told, apne upper digation. Okay, you tell the subject to look upward and you pull down the lower palpebral, lower eyelids downward and see the conjunctiva color. Now it is red. Then second, you can see pallor in oral cavity and palm. Okay, so I am coming in that was oral cavity palm. Then say these hands. Yeah, Posita is having a bit less hemoglobin than me. Okay, because my hand is more red, his hand is a bit white. Okay. Then after doing that, you have to just write if you have got pallor present or not absent. Okay. Then second is icterus. Icterus is the yellowish discolorations of the skin and mucous membrane. Now, common people says it jaundice. Okay. So keep that jaundice. So icterus. For icterus, we will look. So number one is the, don't say sclera. Okay, it is the bulbar conjunctiva, not sclera. Bilirubin get deposited not in the sclera. It deposits over the cover of the sclera. Okay, and many people, many students, many even doctors are having a confusion regarding that. So I have made it clear that icterus, you have to look in the conjunctiva, bulbar conjunctiva. Okay, what is bulbar conjunctiva? I am not going detail about that. Okay, that you know in another. So for icterus, you just tell the subject to look downward and you just put the upper lid a bit higher. Like this, you have to see whether the color is yellow, and you have to compare both the two eyes also. Then icterus, say let us go to nose. There are some diseases, okay, where nose becomes some abnormality. They say what is leprosy, okay. So if you find that, say, oh, the nose is not normal, so then you can suspect that. So you have to not eat that. Then oral cavity, what I have already told, there are mucous membrane and tongue is there. So we can see pallor, we can see icterus. Icterus, first one is the bulbar conjunctiva, then second side is the palate, and this our palate, no? Soft palate, hard palate, and as a whole the oral cavity. Okay, and in the hands, if the bilirubin level is more, then not only the hand and soul, whole body become yellow. Okay, so that icterus, how to look for icterus, you cannot miss it. If you have any query, you write in the comment where I am going to post the video. Definitely, you explanation will be given. Okay. Then one point is cyanosis. Cyanosis means it is the bluish discoloration of the skin and mucous membrane. When there is a more deoxygenated blood, so oxygen level is less. It may be inside. It may be the fault may be in RBC, fault may be in the blood, fault may be in the atmospheric oxygen level. Okay, so when the oxygen saturation is not normal, then there will be some bluish discolorations of the skin and mucous membrane, and that is called cyanosis. There are two types of cyanosis. In theory, you will get it. You have to read it. One is central cyanosis, one is peripheral cyanosis. Okay. So always remember that in central cyanosis, the tongue, that is the innermost portion, tongue and the inner part of the mucous membranes also get involved. And in peripheral cyanosis, cyanosis may be restricted to the hands. Okay, so during the cold winter season, so you may have that your nail has become a bit bluish color. That is nothing but cyanosis because of vasoconstriction due to exposure to the cold. Okay, so cyanosis we look. Number one is the ear lobule because it is highly vascular. Okay, it may be bluish color if there is cyanosis. Then tip of the nose, then the lip. Then we have to open the mouth and we have to see if cyanosis is present in the tongue or not. If it is present in the tongue, then it is a central cyanosis. That is the cyanosis. And in the nail beds, in the palm, in the sole, okay, you have to see, look for cyanosis. Okay, so pallor, icterus, cyanosis, and one more thing is I am going to tell you, the edema. You never forget these things. These four things should be in your lip, not in your memory. It should be in your lip. Okay? Edema. Edema means swelling of the body. If the whole body is swelled, that is called anasarca. If the legs are swollen, okay, it is called pedal edema. So it may depend. Suppose leg swelling occurred and gradually just got high up to the level of the sacrum. It will be like that. How to look for edema? So if to look for edema, we choose the bony points where there are under the skin there is bony prominences. Okay, so like this is the medial malleolus. Okay, medial malleolus. So just above the medial malleolus, here this is a bony prominence, and overlying the bony prominence is the skin and subcutaneous tissue. The no muscle is there in this portion. So those sides we choose. And first you have to look the legs for edema. Okay, so just see the okay. So I have it is leg here. There is in our department, all is corona department, and we don't have a clinical bed. Okay, I am very sorry that I have to explain these things like this. Okay, but we are helpless. Okay, and if the situation becomes normal, you come here say within few days, then definitely we will demonstrate in proper way, in proper side. Okay, so but one thing is there that demonstration or practical, how can it be offline? Offline, practical, these are the opposite, black and white type of things, no? But we are doing offline, practical we are doing. Okay, so this is the selection, NASA selections. Okay, so just these two medial malleoli, just say about 1 centimeter or 2 centimeter above the medial malleoli. By using both your thumb, you give pressure. The pressure should not be too high. Okay, if half presses someone's this above malleolus, then the bone will break, no? So you should know how much pressure you should give. Okay, that is a skill that you will develop when you will do. Just give pressure for 8 to 10 seconds. Then, if there is edema, definitely if someone of you have seen your family member is having say leg swelling, then so definitely you know to press it go the one depression occurs, no? So that is edema, nothing. So after pressing for 8 to 10 seconds, you have to look whether there is any depression or not, and you have to feel that space also. Okay. Whether it has, because of pressing the fluid, edema is nothing but accumulation of fluid in the extracellular sites. Okay, extracellular spaces. When you press, then the fluid will shift to a side. So there will be a depression, just like Gatorade moon. Okay. So if you get that one, then you have to go a bit higher. Say this is the seam. You can press here also seam. Suppose in seam there is no depression, that means edema is restricted to only the ankle. Okay, and there is another type of edema that is called non-pitting edema, which you will get typically in hypothyroidism. Okay, myxedema. That is myxedema, you will get it. Okay, then let us go for say after that this one. This is the neck. In the neck, you have to look for jugular venous pulse, any venous engorgement, any operation mark, or okay, just any abnormal thing is here or not. I am giving you example. Say, have you heard hydrocephalus? If hydrocephalus babies, okay, if there is no other option, then what is done? Ventriculoperitoneal shunt is made. That means from the ventricle or pipe, okay, it is brought just underneath the skin through the neck, and it is up to the peritoneal cavity. It is kept. Okay, that's what I am calling this if there is some abnormal things. Okay, then you have to palpate. These are many angles. You know better in anatomy. So in all the angles, this cervical lymph node you have to look for. Okay. Then vital signs. Vital signs say is pulse, blood pressure, temperature, respiratory rate. These are the vital signs. Okay. And another is there, say consciousness. That is that you can measure by Glasgow Coma scale. So this is not for your level. This is for a level of final evidence. Okay. Then Glasgow Coma scale. So I am not going to that. And if you want to know, then definitely message me. I can give you the list. So pulse. Okay. What is pulse? Pulse is nothing but expansion and elongation of arterial wall because of the blood flowing through the vessel during ventricular systole. That means ventricle will contract, blood will go through the aorta and the branches, and it will, if you put your finger over a particular artery, at that time you will get a feeling of thrust. That is pulse, nothing else. Okay. So where we look for pulse? That is those arteries which are superficial. Okay, abdominal aorta, how you can feel pulses? Then the patient will not come for the second time. Okay. So one very common part is the radial artery. Wait, now you should not ask me where radial artery is. Okay, you know it because in your book it is clearly written. Say it is the anterior lower part of the radius in the anterior surface. There is the radial artery. You have to feel it. Then pulse you have to feel with 3 fingers. Okay. So say I have say here I can feel the radial pulse here. So index finger is the distal finger. Okay. That is it is the farthest from his body, and this my ring finger is the proximal finger. Okay. So and this is the in between. Okay. So by this ring finger, so you have to control the flow of blood. Okay. Definitely it can be done because but if you feel now, you may not get any difference. Okay, but when you will be experienced enough, then you will definitely know the function of these 2 fingers. So this proximal finger to control the flow, distal finger is index finger to control the regurgitation or blood flow, and middle finger is to feel the pulse. So when you get the pulse, then you have to count the rate. Okay, then the rhythm, whether regularly coming or not, then volume, okay, then character of the pulse, and condition of the arterial wall. These are the 5 points. I cannot make the video too long. Okay, so these 5 points you have to look for. Rate, just open your watch and feel the pulse, and if what you look the second hand, then in 1 minute how many pulse you are feeling. Okay, rhythm, whether regularly coming or not. Okay, if it is regular interval coming, then the pulse is regular. So if there is a 1 pulse, after that there is a no pulse, then again 2 pulses, that is irregular pulse. Then volume. Okay, volume, never comment about pulse volume by palpating other peripheral arterial pulse. Okay, if you have to comment about volume, then you have to palpate the carotid artery, then only you can comment about volume. So here sternocleidomastoid muscle is there. This sternocleidomastoid muscle, and this is suppose that larynx and trachea. Okay, between larynx and trachea and the sternocleidomastoid muscle there is a groove. If you press your finger in that groove, you will feel the carotid pulse. Okay, and carotid pulse you have to feel with the thumb like this. Then, if the bounciness of the pulse, if it is a, okay, that is a skill. And like this too, it cannot be taught. Say whether this volume is normal or not. Okay, so average when you feel many carotid pulses, then this is volume is okay. And then if someone just you can feel the 10, then you have to definitely volume will be less. Okay, so never compress both the carotid arteries simultaneously. That you remember. And one very important thing I forgot to tell at the very beginning, I should have told it. That means always stand by the right side of the patient or subject, because majority of your right-handed, okay, or that is not written, but left-handed people should stand in the left side. Okay, it is written that you should stand by the right side of the patient. You should not go to the left side. There are some points, to look some points you may have to go, okay, but you have to stand basically in the right side. After pulse, blood pressure, there will be separate class of on blood pressure. It will be taught. Many things are there to teach. Okay, then that is, it comes under general examination also, and because it is very important, that's why one separate clinical topic. It is made blood pressure measurement is a separate topic. Okay, so pulse, blood pressure. Now one thing is very important. What is that? You should know. Okay, oxygen saturation. That also you have to see. Respiratory rate. Say if the subject is lying down, then better respiratory rate. How you feel? You put your hand over the abdomen, because in adult our respiration type is abdominal thoracic, and you should not, that means patient should not know that the doctor is counting my respiratory rate, because it can be somehow voluntary control. Okay, just put your one hand and you just talk to him some other things. Okay, how old are you, where do you wear, like that. But simultaneously you have to look for the watch. That second hand when it complete 1 minute, and how many times the abdomen has made up and down. Okay, that means how many time the subject is taken respiration. Normal respiratory rate, that is say about it is called 14 to 18, 14 to 20. It is that class. If it is more, then you can take it. Okay. Then chest. Okay, so exposure is what in clinics. So you should expose, and up to actually you should expose the whole person, but depending on the situation. Okay, as maximum amount you can expose, say up to mid-thigh, and this say chest and abdomen, it should be exposed. And that also depends. These are the variable things depending on situation. Okay, so in the chest, you see whether apex beat is visible or not. Okay, what is apex beat? That will be definitely taught when cardiovascular system will be taken. Okay, so apex beat we will look for. Then any scar mark, operating scar mark. Okay, whether chest is any size, what is the type of the chest? One is the called barrel type, barrel chest. Okay, so these are superficially you have to look for. Then say lower limb. One thing I have told you, edema. You have to look for edema, any engorged vein in the inguinal region, any lymph node is there or not. Say there is an abnormal pulsation over the abdomen. That also you have seen during your first examination. So that point also you have to note down. Okay. So if you want to conclude, okay, that means general examination means as a whole superficially examination of all the systems or the whole person. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Few things has remain, because tomorrow also we are having class. So definitely tomorrow that those things I will tell you. So for today, bye. Thank you very much.